Most of us, if we're lucky, can point to at least one teacher who had a profound impact on our lives. Tonight, Arch Campbell is here to pay tribute to one such outstanding teacher, Arch.
And we all do owe a big debt to many of the teachers in our lives. My life changed when a high school drama teacher got me up on stage. In college, that same teacher pointed me toward broadcasting. I interviewed her on tape a few years ago for another story and saved it, knowing the time would come for me to tell you about her. Let's go back now to the stage of my high school in San Antonio and meet Miss Jean Longwith, whose career honored her profession. Let's pretend that you're out in the audience and a kid isn't speaking loudly and distinctly.
Oh, well, let's say, I would say, slow down, breathe deeply, and let it out. That's probably what I'd say.
Jean Longwith had a passion for the performing arts. She could project her voice to the last row of the balcony of our high school auditorium. My senior year, she saw me give a speech, pulled me aside, and told me I would MC her annual talent show. It changed my life.
I think I have intuition when it comes to picking out the stars. Okay, that's what you call intuition.
She smoked, and she knew the world. Directed live TV in the late 40s, then worked in advertising. Her love for theater drew her to Jefferson High School, where she created a golden era that lasted until she directed a play about the Roman Empire and told her actors to grow their hair long. The vice principal made the boys get haircuts. Jean resigned in protest. You know, you were kind of a rebel for a teacher.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, a lot of those teachers were
yeah, I know.
ladies in flowered dresses who had
that's
this
true.
had been their whole career, and you were kind of a hellraiser.
Oh, come on.
Well, I mean, you were.
Please. I left here in '64 to go down to San Antonio College and start a radio TV department, which grew to be quite a large thing. And you were in my first class.
I know.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I'll never forget it. At San Antonio College, I took every class she taught. I work in broadcasting today because of Jean. Over the years, her classes grew into a thriving department, which she chaired. She pushed San Antonio College to build their own FM station, now a unique, powerful voice. She guided hundreds into careers in radio and television and retired Professor Emeritus.
Not just the stars that I'm proud of, it's the ones who are working back there, backstage, or in the traffic at the TV station or the radio station or whatever they're doing. The fact that they've stayed in that communication, that media business.
We stayed connected. She read at my wedding in 1994. A few years later, she wrote me she planned to get a computer and join the information age. Jean loved bridge. She had a minor stroke while playing, recovered, but had another. Then came Parkinson's. She spent her last years bedridden and died in winter 2003. Her obituary ran twice the usual length and celebrated her life. Jean Longwith never married. She had few relatives. She lives on in her students. I remember my remarkable teacher.
Every student is an individual and has problems of their own, but there's something good to find in that person. And if you want to turn somebody on, so to speak, on stage, for example, you have to find that key that helps them release whatever it is they got going for them.
I can only add one sentence to this story for us all, and it is, remember, you are teachers.
I'll never forget Mrs. Fowler. She mentioned all the, I have two questions for you.
Right.
One is all the students that she talks about.
There may have been
happened?
10,000 of them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And she never would give a list of who was doing what.
Is that right?
Because she didn't want us to compete with each other.
Well, how
I know
interesting.
one anchors a news magazine on a network. A lot of them work in radio, but she would never give a list.
The other question is, did you use Vitalis when you had all that hair? What did you use?
Brill cream.
Brill cream.
Brill
A little dabble, do you?
I used a lot. I used a big dab.
That's a nice piece, Archie.
Yeah,
Thank
good for
you.
her
Thank
for
you,
being
man.
ahead of
Really,
her
she
time.
She was something.
That was good.
How long since you've been here?
in this stage?
Oh, it's been, oh, I don't know, at least 15 years since I was backstage before.
I've been here in 27.
All right. Let's start moving a little bit. Okay.
How long since you've been here?
Well, it's been at least 15 years since I've been back to school.
Would you feel funny if a sandbag hit us?
Well, I'd rather you hadn't mentioned that. I'm going to look around.
Melody?
I shall look around.
What is that
Okay.
old piece over there?
Oh, that's a sofa that we used when we did Barrett's of Wimpole Street. And we needed a piece of furniture that looked like it came out of London. That was the only thing I could find in town. We have a matching chair.
You think we can sit on it? You think
Oh,
it'll hold
I think
us?
we should try.
Really?
Yeah, let's try. Okay.
Ooh. On the settee here?
Oh, yeah. Isn't this nice?
This is really...
At one point, yeah, now be sure we look straight. I don't want to be crooked here. He's got it on my beads. I don't know whether that's going to look straight or not. Is that going to be all right?
That clicks on I think they replaced it.
Oh, I don't think they've done anything except repaint and match the colors the best they could. Yeah, they wanted to stay with the same thing, and I'm glad they did, because that's the way everybody
See,
remembers
I thought
it.
they would have ripped the chairs out and had just those ugly, horrible modern chairs.
No.
You know, they got rid of those
I'm
library
surprised.
tables
Yes.
upstairs. That's a shame. They were beautiful.
They were lovely. Well, you have to expect things to change. You know they're not going to stay the same. You just hope that they change for the better.
Does this auditorium look much different to you?
No, it doesn't. It looks much the same to me. The only thing I think we had a little better lighting facilities, or else they're just plain having trouble right now, you know. But it looks the same to me.
I want to ask you about, if you remember, the first time we met, and it was when I was a senior here, and you sort of plucked me from obscurity.
Oh, well,
I don't know if you remember that. I wasn't even a student of yours.
I don't think it was obscurity. We were doing a talent show.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And we always involved everybody in the school, not any one specific class, but we involved, you know, everyone who was interested in coming out could come out. And I met you at that point. I saw you do a little act, and I thought, that's my MC. I'll ask him to be master of ceremonies.
You know, I was floored when you asked me.
I don't know why. You were very good at that, you know.
And I was very frightened.
Now, that you didn't show. No, I picked out right away the fact that you had a sophistication and a style that you don't, that you don't ordinarily see in a high school student. And so I thought, that's the one I want to MC. And I could tell you were fast, you know, at the uptake. And I used to tease you about the corny jokes you told.
I remember you told me to let the audience know when it was time for them to laugh.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I still use that
Good.
today. You know,
What else do you remember? I better not ask.
You cue them that it's their turn
Yes,
to respond.
right.
I don't know if you realize that actually changed my life.
Did it really?
Yeah, I remember I got on this stage and those people started roaring at those awful jokes, and I really realized that I wanted to
do that.
perform.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, they did. You were the hit of the show. And they just applauded and laughed, and I think you actually really were the overwhelming addition to that show.
I just, you know, I'm so floored that you plucked me out of that group. If you hadn't have pulled me out, I never would have done that.
I think I have intuition when it comes to picking out the stars. Okay, that's what you call intuition.
Because you went into radio and television, I feel like that's why I went into that field.
Well, you know, I left here in '64 to go down to San Antonio College and start a radio TV department, which grew to be quite a large thing. And you were in my first class.
I know.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I know.
And
it's why I went to that school, actually, because you were going.
And you went in and learned the board very quickly, and you were just going great guns and having a lot of fun. And so I made you station manager, and you didn't like that as well because that was hard work. That wasn't fun. But we did have a good time, and at that time we were working real hard to get our license to go on the air. We just had an on-campus station, but you were the joy of that. You really were. So.
Can you explain to people who don't know anything about Jefferson High School what it was or is that makes this place, I think, special?
Well, it has a wonderful history, and I'm sure that you will want to be reminded of many of the things that took place here in the early years. So many things did happen. A film was made here, and this, that, and the other. The thing about it was the students had such good values, and they were lovely. They were from good homes, not expensive homes, good homes. And their values were high, and their school spirit was truly remarkable. And you know, when you're dealing with students who are really eager to learn, they were really eager to learn.
You know, I still feel like this place is special to this part of town. I still feel like I see people driving around the building just kind of looking at it. I feel that the students here today are still feel they're in an out-of-the-ordinary place.
I hope so. I hope they do. I'd like to think that those traditions go on and on. You know, you have to hope that. And I see no reason why it would change too drastically. But you're right, it certainly has had a great appeal to many people.
I want to see if I can remember some things about you in 1964. The first thing is I remember you hated this arch over the stage because you hated the art.
Did I hate? No, I didn't hate it. It was just that it was so brilliant that it was hard to put anything on stage that could match it. You know, really.
And another thing, I am amazed. I must tell you that the morning I went up on the stage, I looked out into the auditorium, and it was frightening to see this sea of faces and people out there.
It's a very large auditorium with a tremendous balcony.
Have you ever sat here and just looked out into those chairs?
No, I really haven't. I really haven't. This is the first time, I guess, that I ever sat on this stage, out front.
You would prefer to be out there
absolutely
yelling directions.
Yelling? Yelling direction. That's probably what I did.
What would, could you, let's pretend that you're out in the audience and a kid isn't speaking loudly and distinctly.
Well, let's say, I would say, slow down, breathe deeply, and let it out. That's probably what I'd say.
People always ask me why I don't have a Texas accent.
No, you don't. Isn't that remarkable?
But I believe that I remember you told me to just concentrate on the way I spoke.
Well, I just wanted you to articulate.
Yeah, to
so
articulate.
that we could understand you.
Really? I remember you to articulate.
That's right. But you had beautiful resonance to start with. That's something that's the hardest thing for anybody to get, is resonance in their voice. And you had that naturally. You didn't have to work for that. See, that was God-given.
Well, you have that resonance too.
No, not enough. Not enough.
Something in the back of your.
I have to think hard. If I have to think hard, breathe right before I can do it.
How many students did you teach in Jefferson High School?
How many did I teach? Well, let's see, 5 or 6 classes every day, made up of anywhere from 30 to 60 students at a time.
And then how many broadcasters did you train at San Antonio?
Oh, gosh. Well, I was there 20 years. And we're looking at least 350 students a semester, you know, enrolled in my classes.
You know, you were my teacher, and now you are, I think over the years, you were my friend.
That's right, I hope so.
I feel that way. I hope you feel I'm...
Well, I certainly do.
I feel very close to you.
Well, good.
Of course, having this mic attached to us makes it even closer.
That's true. We have to stick together. Golly. Oh, dear. Did you put his mother through this?
Yes, we did. She had a hell of a time.
God, I bet.
I also remember that when I had that great success, that in the weeks afterwards,
What
you
happened?
made a big effort to keep me under control. Do you remember that?
Were you getting the big head?
You thought I was, and you really...
I bet I really tried to cut you down.
You unsmelled
But I
it
bet
fast.
you didn't. I bet I didn't succeed.
Oh, you did. You did.
Oh, Lord. Well, that's fun. That's fun to hear. I don't remember that.
I don't know if a teacher realizes what she can do, maybe without even giving it much thought, to change kids' lives.
Yes, I think you do realize that you have an impact. Every now and then, something would happen that would make me realize that, and then I'd have to really stop and think about it and try to be more careful, because every student is an individual and has problems of their own. But there's something good to find in that person, and if you want to turn somebody on, so to speak, on stage, for example, you have to find that key that helps them release whatever it is they've got going for them. And everybody's different. You remember we used to do 2 shows here for every play that we did?
Mm-hmm. Right.
2 different casts. I never let them even watch each other because I didn't want one to copy the other or to be influenced. And so consequently, you had 2 entirely different productions based on whatever those individuals brought to their parts. It was very interesting to do it that way.
You know,
Lots of work.
You really did unlock something in me. I think that I would be
good.
selling insurance today.
Oh, heaven forbid.
I do.
No, not you. You would have found your way there. I'm just glad you started here.
I'm glad I know you.
Isn't that fun? Okay. We got to give each other a hug. All right. Good.
Is that,
You got most of what you really wanted?
I'll send you a tape of this uncut stuff if you want it.
Whichever. Their attention, you know, it helped. And so one day, I had just tried everything with this group and nothing worked. So I came up and I knelt right there. I got down on my knees and I said, the only thing I'm going to ask is that we pray for help tomorrow, because that's the only way we're going to get this thing on, is to pray. And the kids were so shocked. See, there I was on the floor, you know, kneeling. I said, I beg of you, try to remember this. I beg of you, try to remember. It made great impact.
You know, you were kind of a rebel for a teacher.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, a lot of those teachers were
yeah, I know.
ladies in flowered dresses who had
that's
this
true.
had been their whole career, and you were kind of a hellraiser.
Oh, come on.
Well, I mean, you
Please.
were very you were spunky.
Yeah.
You know, you were different.
I did things that I felt, you know, would be good for the students. I hope I was right, but you never know.
Do you have a list of like your 100 most famous students?
No, I don't.
Students?
And there are many of them that are doing wonderful work in different places. I have a little lady right now, Kim Benson, who's one of my ex-students, who's on one of the TV stations here in town, is an anchor woman. And she's very good, and I'm proud of her, because she started right at the bottom, you know, and we just worked hard to get her up. And she's done most of that for herself. I didn't do it, she did it. But she's very charming and has done a good job. And I think, you know, that what you have to look at is that you're working with each one as an individual. And when somebody asks me to name people, I'm very reluctant to do it. Because it's not just the stars that I'm proud of, it's the ones who are working back there, backstage, or in the traffic at the TV station or the radio station or whatever they're doing. The fact that they've stayed in that communication, that media business, means that evidently there was something about it that they could do.